Sometimes it's hard for people to make that connection between why are nurses concerned about climate change. And I must confess that that puzzles me because I can see it pretty readily.
Always keep an open mind and keep your eyes wide open, because it's a big world out there and we need to be aware of all the issues and concerns that we need to address.
Today we're going to talk about community assessment. Let's begin by reviewing our public health framework, its core functions, and essential services.
Those kits get used over and over and over as well. We'll probably go through maybe about 15 catheterization kits per semester, and that's for 400 students.
Welcome to this brief video created for WSU College of Nursing faculty to share options and opportunities for how we can move the dial toward environmentally sustainable practices and enhanced course content in environmental health.
One of the things I've enjoyed seeing on the Spokane campus, and I know parallel activities are happening in Tri-Cities, Vancouver, and Yakima, is how we're beginning to incorporate sustainability principles in our practice lab. Each semester we have hundreds and sometimes thousands of encounters of students working on clinical practice activities in those labs. We're beginning to turn the page so that while they're doing those activities, they understand the effects of how to minimize toxins in the workplace, how to really look at environmentally preferred purchasing, how to look at becoming involved with their future employer, whether it's a clinic, hospital, home health, in terms of bringing their own leadership voice to bear in terms of sustainability decisions. So that's happening through the good work of many in our college, and I'm pleased to be a part of it.
Climate change is a pretty big category. You can fit under that vulnerability, you can fit under that disasters, social justice, environmental health. So it's a pretty expansive category.
It's fascinating for me. I have a passion for working with underserved populations. And when I think of e-waste, I think that we tend to take advantage of populations that are truly at a disadvantage, who are desperate for a means to earn money. And I think that nursing has a big role to play in that. I think that nursing certainly has the framework and the ability to stand up and say, this is not okay. If we're going to be shipping our waste out, then we need to be responsible about where it's going, how it's being used. A contemporary topic that's really around us now is this idea we are one big global environment. And so what we are sending out there will come back around. And we only have one planet, so we've got to use it wisely.
Talk about that with the Libby, Montana case study, because the workers were left in the dark about what was happening to them, and there was a lot of anger, resentment, and psychological distress about what was going on in that community. So it's not just about cleaning up an environment or keeping an environment clean, but it's also about the participation of the people in the communities that we're focused on. So that's an important piece to me in environmental health.
So if they start that thinking here in the lab and carry that forward, then step by step the progress will be small. But it'll be continually. And whereas the preceptors in this lab have to be recyclers, they challenge themselves every day to find a new way to be creative in recycling, and hopefully the students will do the same in their practice.
So you've seen a few examples of what faculty have done to add environmental health and environmental sustainability content. How might you get started?
What I could say is that we are working towards developing some sort of repository, I think, of resources, including links and maybe articles, perhaps even presentations that we've done, including PowerPoints or what have you. Certainly, we've talked about CAMEL, which is a national level resource with teaching tools for climate change. People should not feel like they have to reinvent the wheel from scratch, that there are people who have not only their own personal knowledge and experience, but also, as in my case, and I'm sure in your case, we've got a vast amount of literature that we've amassed.
It was very easy. And I think more important than it being easy for me, it was easy for the students to see that conceptual connection.
The student response to this was overwhelmingly positive. It was scary, yet so informative. And these are quotes. It was the most informative and useful class I've ever attended.
But I'm really excited that this is happening. I know that this is important to nursing. They just don't realize it's important to nursing maybe yet. But once they see this or this information and know how it's pretty simple to incorporate some of these things, I found it very simple to incorporate this aspect of health into my curriculum. And I could do it. I can't imagine any course that I couldn't do this in.
On the College of Nursing website, there is a new area of resources for environmental health and sustainability. In addition, several WSU faculty, including those interviewed for this video, are great resources for you. Also, please feel free to contact me if I can be of help.
I want to thank you for what you're doing in terms of taking a look at your classes to address environmental health and environmental sustainability. These have been crazy times, and each time we've asked you to take a look at what is realistic and makes sense and inspirational in your class. Faculty have stepped up to say, I want to do a different case study that addresses pesticide exposure, or I want to do something that we teach students about how we can incorporate greater sustainability principles in our class. There's been a lot of leaders here, both students and faculty, and I continue to be inspired by your work, by your commitment to excellence, and just by your willingness to kind of open the door to being with students on a journey focusing on healthcare, how we make healthcare more sustainable in the future, and how do we ensure that this generation of nurses and future generations of students are going to be leaders in the conversation about having a sustainable world. Thanks for your time, thanks for your effort, and please know you continue to inspire me with your good work. Thanks.